Hi everyone, welcome back to Home in 30. Today I'm joined by Tiffany Gobster, and we're going to talk today about how we met, our working relationship, how we navigated through COVID, 2% interest rates, how we're going today through 7% interest rates, and just get to know our businesses. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Let's see here. So we met, how long has it been now?
11 years, I think.
All right.
Close to that.
All right, when we were much younger.
Yes.
And I remember, so I got to know Tiffany, George Lawton, I had been trying to get his business for about 4 or 5 years, kept getting hung up on, no response, go away. Finally, I was invited in and was able to talk to him, and he introduced me to some sales staff of his. Tiffany was one of those, the top one, I should say. And he's like, listen, you can try to work your way in. And so that's what I did. So I got the opportunity. I mean, I don't know what you have to say about it. What opportunity did we get? Open houses?
Yeah, so you said, hey, can I come sit in open house with you? And back then, the market was much different. I mean, we used to sit open houses 3-4 times a week sometimes because that's how you got business. So Ryan came to us, and I was holding with someone else, someone that we used to just do a lot of deals together. And Ryan was like, hey, can I come sit in open house with you? And usually as a real estate agent, you're like, no, I don't want a lender or title or anybody to sit with us because all you're going to do is like bug us for business, right? So Ryan came to the open house and just brought us food and just brought us coffee and just sat and asked how he could be value to us and our business. It wasn't like, hey, use me, this is what I do, it's about me. It was about, hey, how can I service you? And how can I earn your business? And I think that it was such like a different type of energy than what we were used to. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give him like one deal and see what happens. And it was the best deal ever. And now here we are, 11 years later, best friends, you know?
Best friends. Best friends. The funny part is these houses too back then. I mean, they were what, $200,000 houses?
This house was probably in Buckeye. It was like $200,000. I drove far, you drove far. Yeah, it was great.
I think I lost money on that first deal just on gas and everything, and the food and coffee apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think I had never been around somebody who worked as hard as Tiffany did, and I was like, holy cow, I gotta try to figure out how to attach myself to this one because I knew she was going to do huge things, and luckily I was right. So yeah, that was the start. And then I guess I should say this, so tell me a little bit about where you started, how you started, and where you are today.
So I was pregnant with my third child. I was still working at a restaurant, and actually this guy that was just like a bar kind of regular would come in all the time, and he owned a brokerage, a Remax brokerage, and he would constantly tell me, Tiff, you got to get into real estate. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm still in my 20s, right? And he's like, you got to get out of here. Like,
what year is this?
2011, 2012. But he was telling me this even before that. Like, he had always came in and just told me, like, Tiff, I see something in you, whatever. I don't even know if you know that story. It was Mark Paris that was really the reason that I got into real estate.
Let me put, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
So perspective here, 2008 real estate crash, awful. 2010, 11 is when stuff just kind of started trickling back, and like you could buy the houses today that are 400, 500,000 were 125, 150,000. So, I mean, it was a grind. Anyways, go ahead.
No, yeah, it was crazy back then. But anyway, so I went to real estate school, got my license, interviewed with somebody who at the time I thought I was for sure going to work with. I was like, yeah, I'm going to work for him because he's a friend of mine, whatever. I had known George and Jen Lawton. Jen Lawton had been in my life since I was 18 years old. Kind of crazy story. She worked at a restaurant with my mom when I was young and I first moved here. But I never really put them, like they weren't the ones that I was like, oh, I want to work with them at the time. But Jen asked me out to coffee, and I went and sat with her, and she was like, just give us an opportunity. So I sat with George, and he was like, what's it going to take for you to come work with us at the time? So George Lawton now has over 300 agents. We're like one of the top real estate teams in the country. At the time, he only had 2 people working for him. So I was like, I don't know. He's like, I'm getting ready to start a team. I want you to be here, all the things. So I sat with him, and he goes, how much money do you have to make to survive? And I said, George, I have to make $2,000 a month. If I don't make $2,000 a month, it's funny. But like, I have to tell this story because it was scary. I was like, oh, if I don't make that. And he laughed and he goes, okay, you're going to be fine. Like, if I can double that your first couple months, will you leave the restaurant and come work full time? And I was like, sure. So within my first 60 days, I mean, I think I surpassed that by.
How? So you were doing what?
So back then, so let's say, okay, so I started working for George, right? We had this new system that nobody in Arizona had called Boomtown. Basically, you'd pay for Google pay-per-click ad leads. No one knew how to call on them. Nobody knew what to do. Nobody learned anything. So it was just kind of like, hey, here's some people to call, figure it out, right? So I picked up my first deal, my first call. It was like a $450,000 house in Sun City West. Back then, $450,000 was like, that was luxury. I mean, I had no business taking this call. I said everything wrong on the call. Literally, Jen Lawton came up to me and goes, you just had the worst call ever. Don't ever do that again. But I set the appointment. Like, the guy was like, I can't wait to meet you. Me and my wife are going to meet you there. They wrote a cash offer. Literally within my first week of real estate, I sold a $450,000 house. And then I came back and I was like, they wrote an offer. And Jen, it's so funny because I think back to that time, and Jen and George literally created their playbook off of my calls. So what she had thought at the time was an awful call ended up being our script today. That's super casual. Like, you have a conversation with somebody and you make them feel like you're not trying to be a salesperson. You're trying to help them. And all I wanted to do is, oh my gosh, how fast can I meet you? What's your schedule look like? I was not salesy at all. And that's kind of how my business started.
You get people that kind of almost black out. Like, you're like, hey, you just showed me this house and all of a sudden I'm living in it. What happened? When did I make this decision?
Oh my gosh. No, but yeah, it was cool. That was like the start, and then it just kind of, I kept.
How many calls did you make a day?
Oh my gosh, as many as I could. And not only that, back then sign calls were coming in, right? Like, I was on such a high answering these calls because I was like, oh my gosh, they want to meet me. They want to buy a house. Like, it was so fun for me. It's different now, right? Like, the way that we do business is much different, and we can kind of chat about that. But I would get a sign call. People would drive by signs, and then they would want me to just meet them there. And that's what we did back then. So I would call on those pay-per-click ads that we paid for. Eventually, Ryan ended up being a partner within that helped, pay for those leads. But yeah, that's all we did back then was open houses, sign calls, and pay-per-click ads.
And as far as relationships go, having, our relationship, how do you think that helped you as far as having that great lender-realtor relationship?
Everything. Like, it's pretty cool because I feel like you came into my business at the perfect time because I was so new. I didn't really have direction. I had a great team lead, right? But he's building a team. He didn't really have, like, the time to talk to me about the stuff that you would help me with. Like, Ryan really became like a big brother to me. Every single deal that I did in the beginning, you were on and you helped answer questions for me. I mean, this is a real thing. Like, he had to put me as his favorites on.
Oh, it's funny. I should show that on my phone. My favorites on my phone. I don't know if you can see this, but are my wife, Tiffany, then my kids.
Yeah.
That's how.
I mean, I call Ryan for anything because and at the time, I mean, you were doing a ton of business back then. I was not yet, but you really helped me, I don't know, leverage a lot because you were like, hey, Tiff, this is what you're going to do. This is how you communicate with them. And you would kind of take some of the pressure off me and answer those questions for the client too, right? So it was a relationship that I could answer everything that I could on the real estate side, and then I would give them to Ryan to be like, listen, he's the best and he's going to answer all those financial questions for you. And I think that may be what a lot of people lack is they're not using that relationship to better the relationship with the client. Like, they know our clients now to this day will be like, oh, should I call Ryan first? What do you want me to do? Like, they know that it's a tag team effort.
Yeah, I think the realtor should get them very excited about the opportunity to buy a house, and then the lender should get them comfortable with the financing part of buying a house. And I think that's where, I just try to get in and get out of their life as soon as possible, because who wants to deal with the finance part, and just get them back into the exciting part, which is what she does so well. But I mean, that's the beauty of it, is she gets them so excited about buying that it just makes our job, my job, a little easier. But I think that's where that relationship. I think so many times realtors are looking for the next best thing, or who has this and this and this, and it's like consistency is key. And that's what we've always had, is just like we have a consistent approach, and it just makes it easy for us to sell because it's the same thing over and over and over again. It's the same game plan, same playbook. And Tiffany said I was doing a ton of business, but I mean, I learned a ton from her. And that's what helped my business explode, is because I was working with such an amazing realtor. So it was great to have that kind of come together. And yeah, it was the perfect timing of our two worlds colliding as far as us both building our business, and it worked out really well. So it's great.
I agree.
Okay, next thing I want to talk to you about. As far as okay, so let's just get specifics on a deal. How do you go about getting them excited about the house, and then what's your steps to getting them to a lender? Do you have ideas on that, or what works best for you?
So I am very relational. I want to make sure that you feel comfortable with me. If I get to represent you as your real estate agent, I am here to not sell you on something. My job is to match you with the perfect home, right? You want this house. But within that, I'm really, really transparent about asking so many questions. Yes, of course, what your must-haves are with the house, but what do you feel comfortable with payment-wise, right? That's the first question that somebody should ask, because I don't want to take you to go look at 20 houses that you don't feel comfortable with the payment, right? And that's kind of how I open up the dialogue, is I'm like, listen, I want you to fall in love with a house, but God forbid you fall in love with this house and you can't afford it, right? Or you can afford it, but you don't feel comfortable with that. So that's kind of my opening line. And every single time they want to talk to a lender, they're like, oh my gosh, you're right, Tiff. I don't want to waste my time and fall in love with a house that I can't get. That's not fun for me either. So I typically like to have that conversation after I've met them one time. I like to meet you. I want you to feel comfortable with me. I want you to be able to ask me whatever questions that you have about the transaction. And then from that step forward is usually when I connect you with Ryan.
And you wear suits and you don't bring your kids around or anything like
that,
right?
I had a newborn baby, guys, when I started real estate. I, back then, used to bring my kids with me sometimes. And I think that was something that nobody else did, right? I was like, hey, I can meet you at 6:00, but I'm going to be grabbing my 5-year-old from soccer. I'm going to have a baby in tow, and I might have my other one too, right? And they would laugh and be like, bring your kids. And that is kind of been my whole business. Once you realize, wow, these people, I'm connecting with you. This is a relationship. You trust me because you know my family and I know your family. I'm picking up your kids. That's the thing. That's kind of, I think, what sets the really, really good agent apart from the one that's just trying to be transactional.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. She's real. You're going to get Tiffany, all of it, right? And I think people like that. They can relate to it, and it just makes her more trustworthy. Mm-hmm. And speaking to that, I think that's what is pretty amazing about Tiffany's. And people naturally will procrastinate. They don't want to make a decision, especially the biggest decision of their life. And Tiffany somehow is able to just push them into that direction.
Guide them.
Okay, guide's a nicer word, but it's always in their best interest.
Yes.
But they may not have made that decision if they weren't nudged a little bit to do it. And so it's worked out amazing. I mean, you have repeat clients, but I mean, if they didn't buy that $120,000 house in 2012, they wouldn't be $300,000 richer today, right?
Yep.
So, just getting them to take that leap of faith has been something you've been incredible at.
Thank you.
Can you think of a deal or two that have gone incredibly well, and why?
We just had one. Literally, we just closed this week on Monday. We had a pretty crazy land deal up in Flagstaff. We represented somebody that had already separated the parcels 5 times. And when you get a new owner, a lot of people don't realize this, but you can separate again. So if you're buying 25 acres, one seller can sell those parcels off by 5. And so all of the investors that Ryan was running into, they were concerned that he was buying this as an investment, my buyer, right? That he could be selling those off, which wasn't the case. But it was pretty sticky. You guys had called, a lot of people try to get the deal done, and the selling agent was calling her lenders and all the things. And I mean, everybody kind of had the same thing. It looked like it was going to be an investment property or farmland, right? It was going to be not for their personal reasons, but Ryan got it done like he always does. And we actually had 2 of my real estate agents. I have a team now, and there's 14 of us. And 2 of my agents this week had to flip deals from other lenders that they had found on their own, right? Like sometimes they are like, no, I want to use Chase Bank.
I mean, they say that's what she always tells me that but it's fine.
No, they want to use Chase Bank, and you're like, I don't want you to use your bank. But then it's funny because I don't ever want to say I told you so, but I'm like, hey, trust me. Like this is why, for this reason, right? Like just because they're telling you up front that they're going to give you a better rate or a better cost, that's not always the most important thing. And Ryan typically can match that anyway, right? So that just gave him an opportunity. But anyway, he saved 3 deals for us this week. So it's a big deal. I mean, I had a huge brag session on him without him present at my meeting on Tuesday.
I hate it.
Yeah. Well, but I was excited about it. I'm like, guys, listen, like I had a whole talk with my team. I'm like, it's hard for them because you don't want to push somebody, right? You're not like, oh, you need to use my lender. That's not why we do this. It's not because of our partnership. It's because of trust. I want you to use my lender and my title company and anybody that I work with because I've vetted them, I've worked with them, and I know that they have your best interest at heart as well, right? So that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and I think, talking about consistency and people you trust, like, you want to be doing income producing activities all day and
Yes.
chasing down lenders or realtors or whoever it is, chasing them down, trying to get updates, worrying if it's going to close, updating your clients. That's just not an income producing activity. Mm-hmm. And on the agent side, you should be going out trying to hunt every day. And if you're trying to worry about what's in the past as opposed to what's in the future, it slows you down. So that's all I tried to be for Tiffany, is like just consistent updates, so she doesn't ever have to worry about deals that have come to us, because I need her to go hunt. I don't need her to check on stuff she already has.
Yeah, I don't want to babysit your end, right? Like, and I've never had to do that with you, but with other lenders, I'm doing my job. I got them the house, I got them the deal, I got them everything that they want, but it's your job now. Like, you got to get them the best rate. You got to get them in the best situation to purchase this house. And from then on, I mean, of course, I'm there holding their hand with everything. They call me for questions as well, but I know that when they're with NFM, that they're in good hands.
So what advice, obviously we have our partnership. What advice would you give to agents or lenders about trying to develop their own partnership?
Yeah. You don't need to bring them coffee and food at open house. Like, that's fine.
It does help.
No, I think that you need to build an actual relationship with the people that you're partners with. Like, we have been blessed that we've become like good friends. I mean,
I had to, because she was calling me 10 times a day, and my wife is like, who is this person calling you?
So we're really good friends though. Like, and that's the thing. I think that for me, I want to work with somebody that I trust and I want to be a friendship with. Like, I don't know, like, that's somebody that I know that you're going to have their best interest at heart. Like, that's what matters. So I think if you're out there looking for the best lender, like, you need to find somebody you connect with, right? That you're like, man, I feel like he gets me and he understands how I work and all that kind of stuff. So same with realtors. Like, if you're looking for a good real estate agent, yeah, you want to go after the top producers, right? You wouldn't believe how many calls I get from lenders that are like, I want your business. How can I get your business? And I'm like, man, you're not doing it right. Like, I feel like there's just a way to go about it to be like, hey, how can I serve you? How can I help your business grow? It's that, I don't know, and eventually it'll be reciprocated, but that's kind of how it has to start if you're trying to get real estate agents to come use you at least one time.
Yeah, I think especially developing that long-standing relationship, you want to like them too. Like, if it's just a business, it's just transactional, it's going to fizzle out. So you're going to put a bunch of work in, and then you're only good as your last deal or your next deal. Like, that, you hear that all the time, and it's because you don't like the person you work with, or you're just doing it for business, and it's not something we love hanging out together. I love her husband. It's just it's fun. We have fun together. Like, it's great. Like, it's easy, and it makes it fun. It makes the business fun. And so you're willing to go out of your way. You're willing to drive who knows where to go do stuff, because you want to do that. You want to see them succeed. So that to me is what makes the most sense for me, is like, you want to partner with people and invest your time and energy into people who you care about and want to see them grow.
I love that. You said it way better than me. That's good.
Well, perfect. Okay. Let's see here. So let's have some fun stories. So COVID, all of a sudden, I think 2020, March of 2020, the first couple of weeks we thought our lives were over. I was going to have to just, figure out a different way to make money. Yep. Oh my God, the market's crashing. And then what happened?
It was so fun. I love COVID. I honestly, if you were in real estate during COVID, it was so fun. I don't know. We had so many people flooding into Arizona. I can't say this for other states, but everybody wanted to be here, right? We were warm. It just, I don't know. We didn't have
a little relaxed on the rules.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that, but like, I mean, if you wore, here's kind of how I would show up. If you had a mask on and I saw you have a mask on, I'd put my mask on. I mean, I wasn't a mask person, so for me, I'd be like, okay, they're cool with it. I won't wear one, whatever. But I just loved the deals that were to be made during COVID. It was such a fun time because interest rates were so great and there was bidding wars and it was the best. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was the craziest time. I mean, I've been doing this business 20 plus years, not to date myself, and it was definitely the wackiest time ever. I mean, the people who owned homes, they, just trying to sell, buy something else. Rates were incredibly low. We're talking 2-3% interest rates. I mean, it was a crazy, crazy time.
Yeah.
No inventory, new builds like crazy, everyone just trying to buy a house because it was so much cheaper than even renting at that point.
To chat about inventory, today there's 18,000 active single family homes on the market, which is a pretty good market, right? During COVID, we would wake up and look every day. We teetered between 2,000 single family, and this is all of Maricopa County, 2,000 single family homes. At the height was like 4,000. I mean, there was no houses. So if you were looking for a house, you had to pull the trigger and you had to overpay. But now, they didn't overpay because now you look at it and the market's continued to go up a little bit.
What was the most offers you got on that?
Oh my gosh, we had one and I was the listing agent that had 162 offers on it. And I'm not over exaggerating. I could not keep up with, when I was a listing agent, I was, usually that's like my favorite thing, but I'm like, this is stinking crazy. Like I had to have agents help me. Like you review this one, it was nuts.
How did you pick the winner?
Well, it depends on for that one, depends on your seller, right? Like you could still send letters during COVID times. Like
family letters.
Yeah, like just because you're the cash offer that's 150,000 over doesn't mean you're the best buyer for that house, right? I can't remember which one we ended up taking, but I believe my client picked a family over an investor. There were so many investors purchasing at that time. It was crazy.
So now talking about our shift to today.
Yeah.
What's different about today?
Oh my goodness, everything's changed. And it's different from when we first started too, right? I have kind of transitioned lately, especially my team, to go back to the basics. When we get slow, we know what to do. Like you got to go back to open houses. We've been going back to just getting in our database and calling, pop buys with our past clients. It's completely different. I think today we're definitely in more of a buyer's market. I'm seeing a lot more concessions being paid. I like it though. It's pretty balanced. I mean, if you have an awesome house as a seller, you are still getting multiple offers, nothing like that, but you might get 2 or 3. But it's a good market right now. Like the interest rates where they're at is definitely stinky. I mean, I wish that they would go down a little bit, but if you're getting into a house today, you're eventually gonna be, I mean, it's so cheesy to say, but it is, date the rate.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
What's the rest of that?
Marry the house, date the rate. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't use that line because it's so cheesy, but it is the truth.
Well, thanks for bringing it to my podcast.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, so as far as like how agents are navigating today, obviously, how are you when you have this many listings? How are you navigating that, and what's your advice to agents as far as finding the right home for their clients?
Yeah, it's tough. Like I said, it's a little bit more of a buyer's market, so I'm pretty listing heavy right now, and that's because I have a lot of repeat referral business. Houses don't sell week 1 on the market anymore. I mean, they're sitting, it's back to what it used to be, right? Like 30 to 60 days is not unusual for your house to sit on the market.
Are you counseling those sellers?
Yes. Well, and I'm going into that appointment and being super transparent. Like, I'm not going to be that agent that sits with you is like, I'm going to sell your house for this day 1. And, there is agencies out there that are doing that. And guess what? Their listings don't sell and they end up coming to me and I'm the second agent that has to take the house over because you were not transparent with your client. So I educate them on the market. I mean, I spend quite a bit of time. If I'm going to list your house, I'm sitting there analyzing everything about it, right? Like I want to know all the updates you've done. I want to know how much you spent on it. I want to know everything so that I can go to the next buyer and be like, listen, this is why you want this house over that one. I think being educated and being the best of the best is going to set you apart. The average days on market for, I think it's close to 90. Ours is closer to 30, right? And it's
Why?
because
What are you doing?
I'm pricing appropriately. And I'm doing what I said. Like I'm pulling every bit of data. And not only that, I go in, I'm not going to just list your house if it is not staged properly. I go into every single house and I'm going to give you a punch list of everything that you have to clean up. And then once you've kind of dialed in what I've asked you to do, I'm going to go in and I'm going to stage it. I stage every single house that I list. Not big furniture or anything like that, but just little stuff makes all the difference. And my photographer will tell you, out of anybody he works with, he says, Tiff, your listings are way more dialed in than anybody else because I am trying to get my seller the most money.
So if they're a hoarder,
Oh, I've got them. They're out there, right? Like, I've had $1 million houses that are hoarders, but that's okay. Like if they've got 6 kids and they've got dogs and all the things, like, listen, we all live. Like, you got to live.
You make them clean that up.
I make them clean it, right? But I've got all the vendors for that. If you need a junk removal person or any of that kind of stuff, like, our job is to go above and beyond for our clients.
Okay. All right. Okay. What would you say as far as like tips for agents, like new agents coming in? What would you say?
Join a team. You should
Really?
never, ever try to do this on your own. Stop worrying about splits. Stop worrying about all that stuff. Worry about helping families and learning and being the best of the best, and you will succeed in this business.
And how long do you think it'll take?
It depends. Depends on what team you work for, right? Like, and how much you're willing to put into it. You got to put the effort in. When I first started, and not saying I don't do this today, I do, but you got to do open houses as much as you can. You got to call every FSBO and expired. You got to hit the pavement and go drop off flyers. Like, whatever it takes, you got to do. And if you do it, I have a playbook on my team. If you do these things, there's 5 things that I ask you to do. If you do them, you will close 24 plus transactions a year. And it's, without a doubt, probably 50 if you really did it, but.
All right, so takeaways. Consistency, find somebody you like, find somebody you trust to work with. Partnerships.
Very important.
Treat people well, respect them, don't make it transactional. Tiffany, where can we find you? Phone number, social media.
Yeah.
What are all your
Yeah,
handles?
so my website is gobstergroup.com. It's pretty easy. And we're on social media, Instagram, TikTok, everything. If you just Google Gobster Group, you will find us. And like I said, there's 14 of us that work on my team, and we would love to help you.
She's the best. I'm very lucky to, be partnered with her. And, of course, she gets calls every day. So luckily I'm still around.
Oh, my gosh.
It must be the podcast. Okay. I'm just going to have to read this because, I'm new here. But if you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a review, share with someone you're looking to buy a home. Use her to buy a home.
Yes.
Gobster Group.
Yes.
Okay. Next episode. Is there any such thing as the perfect home buyer? We're going to discuss.
Ooh.
Thank you all
Good
for
one.
listening.
Thanks for having me.